Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be continuing the series where we break down every unit in the game. And today we're going to be going over Margaret Ludociel. This is Best Girl. Okay. And so I'm going, with this series, I'm going to do all of the Archangels first, just because, you know, that's my main, that's what my channel's based around. But we'll get to all the other units. And if there's a unit you want to see earlier on, because there's a lot of units in this game, leave a comment below which units you'd like to see, and I'll kind of keep a little list of, you know, who's saying what and what's getting said, you know, what's getting requested the most. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into Margaret here. This is the Advent of Flash Covenant of Light Ludociel. It is a speed or blue attribute. They are of the goddess race. The characteristics are of the 4 archangels. Now, in terms of the utility and DPS of this unit, it's a little weird, because when she first released, she was a really good hybrid unit where she was a mix of utility and DPS. But she's kind of fallen off as a DPS in the meta. Now, she can still hit hard, don't get me wrong. And her ultimate is, if she's 6'6", is basically a one-shot, you know, if you got all the passives going. But right now, I'm pretty sure everybody, you know, 99% of the time you're going to use her, it's going to be as a DPS. Or not a DPS, utility, my bad. But the really cool thing about this character is she's really good all around in all content. That goes for PvE and PvP, mostly because of this skill here. And we'll get into that in just a second, but first let's go ahead and go over the Grace. So the Grace increases the hero's attack by 5% for each stance or buff on the enemy when using a skill. Now, the way this works, because I've heard a lot of people get confused over how this works, and what's happening is when you use a skill, and it's only when you use the skill of the character that the Grace is attached to, it doesn't affect the allies at all. When you use an attack skill, for every buff on the enemy that's being hit by the skill is going to increase the hero's attack by 5%, or buff or stance. Now, the thing is, there was a little bit of confusion because people thought like, oh, well, there's, you know, 5 buffs on the field, let's say, and you have like Escanor equipped with the Grace, and you attacked. Escanor is only going to get the 5% for each stance or buff for the unit he's attacking. So because he has single targets only, when he attacks the individual units, let's say 5 was a bad example. Let's say there's 6 buffs on the field. Each unit has 2 buffs. If Escanor attacks one of them, he's only getting 10% increase, because the unit he attacked only has 2 buffs. Now, if it was somebody with an AoE, like Margaret herself, it's gonna stack all the buffs, so it'll be the 6. Now, her passive is increases goddess allies' basic stats by 8% every time an ally uses a stance or buff skill. Using this on the Archangel team is pretty much broken right now. Increasing all these stats, especially when you have Liz on the field and either Tarmiel or Sariel, all of these units working together are buffing each other, and you're getting insane stats. It's making you super tanky, and it's making you hit really hard. Her Relic is, for each ally of the 4 Archangels on the battlefield, increases the hero's damage dealt to enemies by 5% and decreases the hero's damage taken by 5%. Now, it's not the greatest relic in the world, but it works for her because typically, if you're running the Archangel team, people tend to target your Margaret first. And so this is going to help her tank a little better. She's going to do a little bit more damage. It's not going to be the greatest buff in the world, but every little bit helps. And you'll notice that when you play PvP a lot with this team. Now, her first skill is inflicts charge damage. Now, charge isn't the greatest, but her stacking her passive, getting her buffs, all the other units on the team giving buffs, buffing her up, she can hit pretty hard. Her buff skill is the best buff skill in the game. in my opinion, maybe somebody else has a different opinion, but I'm pretty sure most people are going to agree with me on this. But removes buff, so it's a debuff, or not a debuff. It's a cleanser. Removes debuffs from all allies, increases damage dealt to enemies by 30%, and decreases damage taken by 20% for 2 turns. And then it increases by rank 2, and then rank 3 is going to apply a lot more buffs. So definitely the best buffer in the game, in my opinion. And her ultimate is inflicts sever damage equal to 945% of attack on one enemy at 6/6, blocks all enemies' skill effects including those of ultimate moves, and decreases damage dealt with ultimate moves by 30% for 2 turns. Now of course you only get this at 6/6, the block all skill effects, but Margaret's been around for a minute and she's going to be on other banners. She is a festival unit, so you do have chances to get her 6/6. And like I said, this is pretty much a one-shot as 6/6, as long as you're, running her properly. Now, something I didn't do in the Ludociel video, which I should have done, and somebody commented, thank you so much for that, for letting me know, is I didn't cover the gear that you should be using on the unit. So, I'm going to quickly say what you should go over for Ludociel, since this is also technically Ludociel, because they're both interchangeable. On the gear, most of the time for both units you're going to be using attack defense because they are utility units. Now with Margaret, if you're going to use her as a DPS, which I kind of don't recommend anymore, you can use attack crit, and she will hit really hard. She is technically a crit unit, a crit based unit, so she will hit hard, but for both regular Ludociel and Margaret Ludociel, you're going to be running HP defense. Now let's go ahead and show the skills just like I did in the last video. Also, if you haven't seen the last video, I'll leave a link in the description. I do have a playlist on my channel you can check out, where I covered the original Ludociel, and next video in the series I'll probably do Sariel. I'll start with the OG Sariel and then I'll get into the new Sariel. So let's go ahead and watch her skills. This is her attack card. This is her buff skill. Now, in my opinion, Margaret's skills are like the best looking in the game, and that is my opinion, because I mean I am a little biased, but like look at this. That flash of light and everything, I think it looks so good. But anyway, here is her ultimate. I personally think that is the best looking ultimate in the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into the last part here. Whether or not she is usable, lasting, meta, all that good stuff. Yes, she is still meta, not as broken as she used to be, but she is definitely still meta. Her cleanse, she has the best cleanse in the game, best buff in the game, and people are using her with ult rush teams, goddess teams. She does work all around for so many different things. She's decent in the bird, if you don't have like Magelda, for example. She's just all around an amazing unit. Now, in terms of lasting ability, I think she is definitely going to last, especially because she's a festival with a cleanse, and yeah, it's a really OP cleanse, and her ultimate is really good, especially if you have her 6/6. Now, arguably her grace is the weakest of the graces in the game currently, but when Netmarble gives the Archangel team more buffs, like Mael, for example, in the future, it's just going to make her that much better. You're definitely going to want her on any Archangel team just because of the increases goddess allies. It's definitely going to be a laster in my opinion. So is it worth investing in? Yes, 100%. I think Margaret is definitely worth investing in. If you're gonna try hard, you know, yeah, of course you want to go for all the cosmetics, but I don't think it's 100% necessary. You might not use her as your main, like in your main PvP team, but you know, different metas come and go. For example, right now, Rimuru and the Unknown team is still going around, and that does hurt the Archangel team. So keep that in mind. If you are gonna fight the Archangel team, the Unknown team is the best counter in my opinion. But the Archangel team is a really good, solid, all-around team, and it does work really well against Spawn team. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do have a Discord. I'll leave a link in the description, and I also have a Twitter. I'll leave a link to that too. And I stream on Twitch sometimes. So I'll leave all those links in the description. Please go check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and y'all have a wonderful day.
四大天使の名にかけて